Hi, Bio. So today I decided to make a fun fact video for us because it's been a while since we've had a true fun fact. And this is a pretty cool thing that's going on right now in San Diego. So if you'll remember, I'm currently staying in San Diego with my family. That's where I'm sheltering in place. And here in San Diego, there's something just wrapping up called a red tide. And a red tide is when there are a whole bunch of these tiny single-celled organisms called dinoflagellates that overproduce. And this happens because it usually happens because there's a period of a lot of rain. So there's a lot of runoff into the ocean that adds a lot of nutrients, followed by a period of really high heat. It's been really hot here in San Diego. And that high heat allows the organisms that are feeding off all those nutrients from the runoff to reproduce really, really fast. They actually just clone themselves. That's how they reproduce. They use asexual reproduction. And when they reproduce really fast, there's a whole bunch of them. And then the water actually during the day becomes this sort of murky red color. That's why it's called a red tide. It sort of looks sort of coppery because there's so many of them and they're overcrowding everything else. And the other really cool thing about the red tide is that these organisms, these dinoflagellates, actually bioluminesce. What that means is that they shine. And the reason why they do this is it's actually an adaptation. I'm sure it has evolved through the process of natural selection. And the reason why they have this advantageous trait of bioluminescing, or the reason why it's advantageous at all, is because it actually distracts their predators. So they bioluminesce whenever there is movement. And so when the predators are moving around them to eat them, they flash this bioluminescent, and it actually looks like this. And I'm going to show you a video in a moment. So they flash, and when they flash, they actually scare the predator or sort of distract the predator or shock the predator so the predator goes away and doesn't eat as many of them. And so this is an advantageous trait. But the cool thing is that these dinoflagellates, they flash whenever there's any movement. So for example, when waves are crashing, they flash. Or when a surfer is swimming through the water, they flash. And so it's pretty amazing to see because literally the ocean looks like this, where everywhere that there's a wave crashing, it's glowing this blue-green color. And the other interesting thing is that because they're crowding out the light from coming down into the ocean, they're actually creating an imbalance in the ecosystem, and a lot of things end up dying. And that creates this really terrible smell. And the house that I'm staying in right now is about 4 miles from the beach. And even 4 miles away, we have been able to smell it. Not all the time, but every so often, this just terrible, like, stinky smell from all the things dying in the ocean. This is because now we're towards the end of the red tide. And then once these dinoflagellates die and we don't have this overproduction, then it will go back to the normal ecosystem again. But it's interesting to see this ebb and flow. And some red tides can actually be toxic. This one is not. And so there were surfers who were in the water as well. And like I said, everywhere where there's a surfer, there's the sparkling around. So I'm really fortunate because my in-laws work at the Scripps Institute of Oceanography, which is part of UCSD, my alma mater, down here in San Diego. And this is the Scripps Pier, the SIO Pier. And so we were able to go out and stand on this pier and look down at the waves crashing on either side. And so that's what I'm going to show you a video of. Okay, here's the video. And it's not super high quality because it's just recorded on my super old iPhone, but you'll get the idea, and it's still pretty cool to get to see this. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that little fun fact video. And remember, science is still out there, and uh, biology is still very much happening in our world. And in fact, hopefully, it will help us find the way out of this. Okay, have a good weekend. Bye, guys.